Let me start this out by saying, I don't have a lot of time. I have a few weeks before the government discovers all the money I've taken from them wasn't exactly to pursue an education. I've been using the funds to sedate my craving addiction to raising fucking canes. I don't know what it is about that place. I sit in an hour-long line at 1 in the morning for chicken that's fresh out of the microwave and Walmart brand freezer aisle fries.
Today we're having french fries.
All to just have the worst diarrhea of my fucking life later that night. It's a cycle I cannot escape, an addiction that doesn't let go, one that I've decided not to reject, but to instead embrace the hopeless situation I find myself in, waiting for the day the IRS finally decides to come knocking and receive the funds I no longer have. But in the meantime, while I wait for my canes to arrive, let's check on my other addiction, Risk of Rain 2. What do you think I received such blunt force trauma to the face?
I think I died.
Risk of Rain 2 is a roguelike, action-like, RPG-like game where your main goal isn't to kill the moon boss baby, but to cross the event horizon into a god run, if you will. The event horizon is a moment in the game where you cross the threshold at which the game scales, and you can only increase in power, while your enemies remain stagnant. That is the true goal of the game, not to beat God, but to ascend God and be able to kill everything. But in order to reach this level, you need a character and gear. And lucky for you, the game gives you the two worst characters to start the game with, and missing half the items you need to get far. Doesn't matter which you pick, just pick one, go in, and die at the second stage. Now, do you see that? Let's rewind. Why, yes indeed, you died. Why? Well, you were shit, that's why, so jump back in again and grab an item this time. Now, items are your bread and butter of this game. They have a default rarity system, common, epic, legendary. It's standard at this point in most loot boxes. These items have a wide range of effects from, I guess a little bit more health to every bullet I shoot out my minigun is explosive. It allows a variety of ways to play the game, but the trouble at the start is learning what each item does. I think it's part of the fun figuring out which item does, but if you don't want to mess with that, there are mods that tell you what each item does and how it stacks. As when you are learning each item, you begin to think of ideas for how you can build your next character, like, oh, this guy goes invisible for one of his abilities, and he has a knife that guarantees a crit on backstabs. Why don't we just stack some items that increase how many knives he holds at once, and damage we deal to nearby enemies? Maybe throw in a few extra dodges to make us almost always invisible. Oh, an item stack, as in if you pick up one of the same item, you get two. So if you get an item that says increase your fire rate by 15% 10 times, then your shitty bow becomes automatic.
What's happening?
I can't, there's so much!
Perfect, because there's an elite somewhere around here.
This is one of two mechanics that makes this game special, and why many call it the peak of the roguelike genre. As being able to infinitely stack items leads you to think of ways to cheese the game as fast as possible, offering the player a very different experience for each run and different approach to games like it. For instance, Enter the Gungeon or Synthetic, where the fun comes from the combination of items and weapons you get, only allowing one of each type of item, restricting the player from trying to break the game and making them rely more on dumb luck to get a good run. Risk of Rain gives more opportunities to experience good runs, and therefore makes the game more enjoyable even if you get shit items repeatedly, as getting a bunch of one item usually allows for a fun game regardless of whether it's a good item or not. But allowing the player to pick up each item and slowly go through each level would allow a slower gameplay cycle that wouldn't engage the player. So a second mechanic was made. Time. Time is always a problem. You see all these enemies, they shouldn't actually be your main concern. Your real boss should be this little shit, the timer. As the longer a run goes on for, the harder the game becomes, meaning more enemies, harder enemies, and some even spawning with special abilities, allowing for them to turn their teammates invisible or having half their health bar being shield. So your main concern should always be how fast you are going, and trying to get through the game as fast as possible, grabbing as many items as you can. As if you take too long, you will end up in a situation where you just can't kill the boss of the stage, and you will die and get kicked all the way back to the character select screen. This all sounds high and dandy, but how do you do this? How do you achieve a god run? Well, first you gotta unlock the best character in the game, the loader. A man equipped with an exoskeleton capable of lifting 250 tons, and having a grappling hook capable of winching over 50 tons. We'll be using this loadout, and our goal is to be able to become strong enough to one-punch the final boss.
Mr. Speed says, oh my god, Dodo, he fucking raped your ass.
But this is no easy task, as the game can go on for hours at a time. But we must be careful, and make sure not to get distracted and fuck up. And as you know, I'm the very best at playing games. So I never die, as this game is just simply too easy for me. Besides that, here's the reason I decided to make this video.
D? A C. I'll give it a C.
Nah,
D
that's D. What belongs in D, bro?
Park is S. What's
Nah,
Davy
Davy
back?
back? That's D. We put that at the back of D.
What's Davy
And that's,
back?
that's the Afro Luffy, bro. Oh. There's no way you're calling me right now. Throw Bark is like, that's better than Syrup Village.
Yeah, I give it to you.
That's
I
like
didn't
B.
like Thriller Bark.
Man, shut your bitch ass up, nigga.
It is currently 2:37 in the morning, and I can't be bothered to open up the rest of my paragraph of a script, so I'm just gonna go off the top of my head. Risk of Rain 2 is one of the best high-impact roguelikes out there. It has left me crippled, depressed, and alone, awaiting a father figure that one day will save me from this torture. But in the meantime, I will continue to subject myself to losing hours of my fucking life due to some bullshit-ass attack that somehow I was supposed to predict. It's a brilliantly made game. Buy it. Goes on sale for like fucking $15. It's an hour's worth of work at fucking McDonald's. With that being said, I am Cocksucker 2003. Go fuck yourself. I'm gonna go play another Risk of Rain match. Baby!